everyone, it's Bonita from Pennies to Dollars, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about frugal living, minimalism, and decluttering. I'm glad that you joined me today, and welcome to all the new viewers and all the returning viewers. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about something that somebody said to me the other day. I had a gentleman tell me, my worries are small. And it got me to thinking that when our worries are small, so many other things fall into place. And how do we get to having small worries? I also had another gentleman ask me, he said, I stay at home about 4 days out of the week, sometimes 3 or 4 days at a time. And my friends think that I'm depressed, but I don't think I'm depressed. I turn on the TV, I open the drapes, I open the back door and have the screen door open, I listen to music. I don't think I'm depressed. Do you think I am? And I said, absolutely not. I love staying at home. I love doing things around my property. In fact, there's lots of weeks that I don't leave the house for 3 or 4 days at a time. But that doesn't mean that I'm depressed. It just means that I enjoy a more simple way of life. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think over time, each generation adds to what they think is normal. And every generation, even from your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s, it has changed so much from when you were younger. And people feel like if you stay at home, that's not normal anymore, that you should want to go places. When I was a kid, I would go outside and play with the chickens. I would play with the cats. I would play in the sandbox. I would ride my bike. I would pretend. I would play fort. There were so many things I would do to entertain myself and use my imagination. But as we become adults, so much of that imagination gets lost. And I think along with it, we learn how to be entertained by someone else or something else. And generally, that costs us money. We forget how to entertain ourselves. I can spend all day piddling around with different things that I have and going through to-do lists that I have that are for when I have free time and I want to get some things done. And I never get bored with that. But when I grew up, I was in band, I was in sports, and I was the youngest, and so I participated in those things when my older brothers never did. And my dad called me a runaround. Now, that's probably an old term, and maybe it doesn't mean what you think it does, but it actually just meant that I ran around too much, that I left the house too much, and that I had too many outside things to do that were not at home. And when you think about that, anytime we leave the house, it generally costs us money. It costs us money in gas. It costs us money because we usually end up buying a snack or picking something up that we maybe didn't intend to buy. And that's one of the reasons that I don't window shop. If I window shop, I'm going to be thinking about things that I never knew existed before I went into that store. And maybe I'll be thinking about where I could find space for it in my house. And maybe I'll be thinking about how I can go about affording to purchase something that I never even thought of before. So I think window shopping is dangerous. And not only that, I like to shop with intention. I like to shop with a list and knowing what I'm looking for. I'm one of those people, I like to get in and get out. I go in looking for specific clearance areas or something specific at a good buy. And that's what I get, and then I leave. I don't like to browse around all day long just looking at things. I feel like I have better things to do with my time because I enjoy a more simple life. So if we spend small, do we also worry small? Let's talk about how that all fits together. When we spend small, we have less things that will break. We have less things that will need replaced. We usually have less needs, and if we have less needs, we generally have less wants. And needs and wants kind of go together. When you're able to control those, it leads to a more simplified type of life, or a more minimalistic type of life, where you just don't feel like you need and want that much to be happy, or you don't need and want that much that you're going to have to take care of, manage, figure out where to put, dust, clean, all of those things that go into owning a lot of items. And when you have less needs and less wants, you generally will end up having less clutter. And how many of us are trying to declutter our homes now because somehow over our lifetimes we accumulated too many things that we're not using anymore, things that are just taking up our precious space in our homes and making us feel like the place is cluttered. So all of those things go together. And when we have less needs and less wants and less clutter, then we generally have less demands on our paycheck. And that leads to less worry. The number one thing that people complain about generally now is stress. They have too much stress in their life. And stress affects us in lack of sleep. It affects us in physical symptoms and mental symptoms. No one wants more stress in our life. So if we can have less spending and equal less worry, which equals less stress, to me that is absolutely worth it in all ways considered. And when we have all of those together, we have a less desire to spend money and to find ways that we need to spend money to entertain ourselves. We stop looking so much for those outside ways to entertain ourselves. And when we put all of those together, we usually have a less desire to spend money, and sometimes even a less desire to leave our home. If we can get our home decluttered and pleasant and our own oasis, and we can be happy there and find things that we like to do on our property, around our property, within walking distance, those things don't usually cost as much money. So I think it is true that if we spend small, we also worry small. Let me know in the comments below what you are going to do this week to spend small and worry small. Thanks for watching, and I hope that this has brought you some things to think about in the coming week, and I hope that you will join our frugal family and subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I hope to see you soon.